we're just going to claim that God's going to put this extraordinary covering over us, and nothing's ever going to happen to us. And unfortunately, that's generally not the way that God works. Can He do things like that? Absolutely. God has all power. He can do anything that He wants to. But I see a lot of people are saying, especially with this COVID-19, well, this thing, we're just going to claim that God's not going, not going to allow us to be affected with this. That's kind of a wrong-headed theology. It's kind of the same thing I hear people saying, well, the economy's down and we're not participating in it. Oh, really? See how well that works out for you. Yeah, that's the prosperity gospel. But I hear people saying, well, we're going to claim all this. I want to tell you a story about a guy that he was in a flood. Flood waters were coming up around his house. And he cried out, God, help me, help me. Well, about a half hour later, the flood waters are coming up around his house, and this truck driver has a flatbed truck. He backs the truck down into the waters towards the man's house, and he says, jump on the back, jump on, I'll pull you out. No, God's going to help me. God's going to help me. He's going to send help. He's going to get me out of this. The guy stays as long as he can, but his truck's getting ready to get swept away, so he has to leave. A few hours later, a rowboat pulls up beside of the man's house, and the guy says, get in, get in. No, God's going to fix it. God's going to take care of it. I'm okay. Finally, the man is on the roof. The flood waters have gotten so high that he's had to get on top of the roof of his house, and his house is getting ready to be washed away. And a helicopter shows up from a rescue team. Get with us. We've got to get you out of here. No, God's going to fix it. Well, the helicopter finally has to leave also. And the man dies in the flood. He gets to the pearly gates, and he talks to God, and he says, God, I asked you to fix this and to take care of this and to save me from the flood. He said, my son, I sent you a flatbed truck, a rowboat, and a helicopter. What more do you want me to do? Sometimes we got to use what God has given us. In this day and this time, I would suggest when you're out and about, use a mask. Social distance. Do common sense things. Wash your hands real well. And if we do those things, more than likely, there's no total guarantee you can't get risk out of everything. You can't get down to a 0% risk in anything. But more than likely, if we do the things that we know are correct, this COVID-19 will not be something that will hit us. It may, and if it does, then we're going to have to back up, punt, and figure out other ways. But do the common sense things. And another thing, it may help to alleviate some of the flu and the cold that comes around later in the year. But let's use what God has given us. He's given us a brain and common sense. And let's trust Him with those things. And yes, He can do a great and a mighty miracle, but sometimes He sends the small things before He sends the big thing for a big miracle. I pray today that God will bless and keep you this day.